Right, and we are now live, and just give me one moment. I'm going to make sure that we have let all of our fans know. Okay. All right. All right, well, everyone. Thank you for joining Saturday Q&A. This is our weekly YouTube program. You can find it on our YouTube channel, which now has a new YouTube address. It is youtube.com/my footprint, FUTPRINT. So my footprint, and again that is MYFUTPRINT. And we really are quite happy to have a simplified address so you guys can find us better. Of course, find about us you'll find at www.saturday-am.com. And you're asking yourself, what is SaturdayAM.com? Saturday AM is we believe and hope, a revolution in webcomic content. We are a digital manga webcomic publisher. All of our content is original and from first-time creators, and we have a pretty strong list of original intellectual properties that are fantastic. Everything from the superstar property Apple Black by Nigeria's WHYT MANGA to some of our newer properties, including some properties that we just debuted from a program we have called Test Flight, which was Animale by Felipe Borman, which just debuted today in issue number 16 of Saturday AM. We have our magazines come out every 2 weeks, and we are trying very desperately to create a new conversation as it relates to the ability to collect comics in the digital age, and to do so with the original creators and first-time creators at the forefront of that conversation. So we have been growing fairly decently. We still got a long ways to go, but this podcast is one of the ways that we're doing it. We're getting word out by profiling up-and-coming creators. And tonight, we're very fortunate we've got the creator of a new series that we'll be debuting that I personally have an interest in. He's going to be an artist on this, and so it's really exciting to have Desmond Thompson on the show. Desmond, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello.
You guys will learn very quickly that Desmond is a very laid-back personality. So, of all the people we've had, and we've had quite a few episodes now, actually, which is amazing that people continue to watch it. So, thank you for that. But Desmond is one of the more laid-back personalities, and Desmond is also truly an up-and-coming creator. He's not worked on a consistent webcomic beforehand, so he's going to be working on our original property, massively multiplayer World of Ghosts, which was to debut today, but will debut actually in issue 17, and we're really excited about Desmond and his quality. And you can check out information about Desmond in issue 16, which just came out today. We have an interview with Desmond in there. So in this episode tonight, we'll be talking to Desmond about his style, his background, what he hopes to accomplish. And of course, as always, you guys can ask questions of Desmond or of myself in this vodcast. You can do so via our Facebook group, which we have facebook.com/SaturdayAM, which is our actual fan page. And then we also have a private group for up-and-coming creators, which you can find at facebook.com/SaturdayAM Pilot Manga Submissions Group. And that's a long word, but it's a private group, and you can find it if you look there. You can also find it on our website at www.saturday-am.com /pilot-manga /. So it's all a lot of stuff there, but my name is Frederick Jones. I'm the founder of myfootprint.com, which is the parent to all these various brands that we have. We, of course, have Saturday AM, our digital manga magazine. We also have a daily, weekly webcomic experience called Afternoon WebX. And we just debuted back in May our original ebook line, which we will be making some announcements about very soon. And we also have a Kickstarter out, which we're really excited about, and we'll talk about that in tonight's episode. called Saturday Wars, and it is a really awesome crossover featuring characters all throughout Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX and many other webcomics that are not associated with us. And we're really excited about that. That's going to be really awesome. And we need your help, and we'll talk a lot about that this evening. So without further ado, as I said, you can give questions to our Facebook fan pages. You can also do it if you're running the Google Hangout app. You can also do that on the Q&A tab or in the chat window. So whichever one you feel comfortable with, feel free to post questions there. But as always, I'll go ahead and get us started. Desmond, first of all, tell everybody, Desmond, so where are you from? Because you are, we have creators all over the world, but where are you from?
Born in Germany, raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, and let's say around 9 or 8 years ago, moved to North Carolina. So.
Okay, so you're a North Carolina guy now. I mean, you're not that old, so you're a North Carolina guy. Been here for a decent chunk of time. If you said you moved here when you were about 10 years ago, so 9 or would you say 9 or 10?
About 8 or 9.
8 or 9 years old?
No, 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay, got it. Okay. And so what are you thinking of the Carolina area?
I haven't been to many places, but it has its perks and disadvantages, and but, it's a place.
It's a place. That's awesome. That's it's one of the most poetic things I've ever heard about North Carolina. So that's awesome. It's a place. So, well, as for those people who are listening may not know, I mean, I'm from North Carolina as well. In fact, a couple of our creators are from North Carolina, and so we're really excited. I mean, we hope to play a big role in North Carolina to the comic book and manga industries, as well as anime. I mean, for some people who don't know, we had an interview actually on our website about this, but MMWOG, which is a classic anime company, is based here in North Carolina. And has been here for decades. So back long before the explosion of anime in the last 15 years, MMWOG was doing stuff back in the. In fact, the first, as I understand it, the first anime club in the West was born in North Carolina State University, which is a gigantic university here in North Carolina. And in fact, it was it was the place where I discovered anime back in the early to mid 1980s, back when the only way to even see anime regularly, unfiltered, was to pay an exchange student who was going to Japan to learn something to actually bring you back a videotape full of anime. You could, if they were there for 3 months, you could get pretty much a whole 26-episode season on a couple of VHS tapes. And so I remember doing that with Mobile Suit Gundam and Zeta Gundam. So North Carolina, as Desmond said, is a place, but it's got a very interesting relationship to manga and anime and comic books. Heroes Aren't Hard to Find was one of the original big comic book conventions in this part of the United States, and it's still one of the classic comic book conventions that you can go to outside of something like San Diego Comic-Con. So North Carolina, I actually find quite a lot of great stuff about North Carolina, but we hope to be the big one when we do the stuff that we're doing on Saturday AM. So let's talk about you, Desmond. All the stuff I just said, one of the reasons I said that was because it kind of plays a role in describing how North Carolina is set up and in describing how we actually met. So you want to tell everybody how we met?
Yeah, I was going to an anime convention called Animazement. I was pretty much scoping the place out, trying to see if I wanted to set up a artist booth there, and I had some stuff in the artist auctions. So I was, mingling with other artists at Artist Alley, and came across the Saturday AM table. Showed them some of my work. Then they showed you, and got talking, and here we are.
And the people you talked to, I think, that was I remember at that convention, Animazement, which is a really nice anime convention here in North Carolina, held every May, I think. That one that had Mikhail Dingle there, who creates Mathalka Lux Nova. We had David Yoon, who creates Spoon. We had Raymond Brown, who creates Bully Eater. So I mean, you talked to one of those three, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I talked to Raven.
Got it. Okay. And yeah, and so we saw your work, and you had this very exciting. You obviously had a big video game influence in your work, and again, people who actually have the latest issue can see that for themselves. But you had a great sort of video game appreciation in your work. What video games do you play? Like, what's the is that? Would you say that was the key thing that got inspired you to want to create comics or create art, or had you had that bug naturally?
It definitely, it's a huge inspiration. It wasn't the original thing, obviously, but it definitely has been a heavy influence over the years. Things like Street Fighter and a lot of Capcom stuff. Yeah, just stuff like, and a whole lot of action games. But lately haven't been playing video games nearly as much as I used to. But, still, anytime I get the chance, open up, 10 or 15 cans of beat down fluid on people and fighting games and just have a lot of fun.
It is interesting that of the people who are influenced by video games, I worked in the game industry for a very long time, and for the people who actually are into video games, I remember when I was in the game industry, and I got into the game industry in the mid '90s. When I got into the game industry, working at with Rap Collins, working on Sony PlayStation launch software, or some of the first party software. I remember being into Capcom, and I remember Capcom's presence from when PlayStation launched was Star Gladiator, which was a 3D game, which I only remember even enjoying that because 3D was horrible back then, but because the 2D artwork was by the two creators of a lot of the Capcom art at the time, which was Akiman and Bingus. And so I bought all the art books and stuff that I could import. And I even tried to create a Street Fighter comic book. I came really close to licensing the rights with a guy named Mike Waringo, who's a famous comic artist here in America. We came really close to doing that. And but yeah, Capcom and Street Fighter are one of those things that if you're an artist, I think most people are influenced by them. I mean, Sean Thomas and Ed McGuinness. I think Ed McGuinness. I think his name.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these guys, had an appreciation for Capcom, which was just so astonishing to me because I remember, when I was in the industry proper in the mid to late '90s, and talking about Capcom and how Capcom just did not register to any of the people who worked in the video game industry. Like, that was like this weird Japanese thing. I'm like, how do you not love Capcom? So yeah, Capcom seems to be something. I see it in a lot of your work that you've got out there. It seems to be something that you have a great deal of love for.
Oh yeah.
Do you yours ever? You said that wasn't like the thing that got you into drawing, but would you ever see yourself creating art for Street Fighter if you could?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh, okay. Well, what you said you're not playing as much today? Is that because just you haven't gotten a new system, which I haven't either, by the way? So.
Well, it's mostly the not having any free time to play.
Right.
But juggling jobs and everything, but I think not too long ago got some friends together and we ran some fighting games because that's like the main thing I tend to play with other people is fighting games.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'll wait for the next RPG to come out or whatever action game is dropping. The landscape changes all the time with video games. Because growing up as a kid, for me it was Sonic and Mega Man and Street Fighter and this Metroid Prime, Legend of Zelda. Devil May Cry, Mortal Kombat. So whole slew of games that I've played over the years, and
Yeah.
they've all influenced me in some part of the way.
So, and I know every single one of those games, I was like, I was in the industry when all those came out. Like that's why I grew up on. Like I remember all those games. So obviously anime, manga. Your style is interesting because it does seem to be a blend of some of those elements, anime and manga. But you've also got that kind of healthy appreciation for American archetypes.
Yeah,
Healthy figures. The Japanese tend to go more life in, whereas in America, we like kind of big and brawn. So, did you was that something that you? I mean, so what are your influences in those other areas? Like, do you follow American comic books at all, Western comic?
oh yeah, I go up to the comic book store all the time, well, every chance that I get anyway. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go this week and get another. Is it the Death of Wolverine? That's happening right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up on American comics. The order in which I grew up and things inspired me in terms of the three comics and anime and video games. It was comics, video games, and then finally anime. And it all happened like within the span of maybe 5 years. But it that's pretty much how my influence goes. And in terms of my characters or whatever being uh, healthy, was that the word you used?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the first real big anime that I really got into was Dragon Ball Z. So that style combined with like all the superheroes that I already seen, it went perfect together, really, because characters in Dragon Ball Z, they're not exactly toothpicks. So, but, so, and then Street Fighter, like everybody in that is buff. So
Yes. Yeah. I think that's one reason why that art was so popular to comic artists in that era. Is that
yeah,
it had such a relationship towards American stuff. So. So okay, so you got that sort of you got the interest obviously in the Western things and so forth. You said you do go to your local comic store. Um, so obviously you're not as young as some of the guys that we have obviously with Saturday AM, but obviously you're younger than I am. So I guess my question to you was so what was the strategy? I mean, do you see yourself being more of a, because you said you would in a heartbeat go work on a property from these guys. What is the sort of thing? What's your life goal? Is it to create your own thing, have you been successful? Is it to work on Spider-Man or Wolverine or Batman? Like what's the draw for you to art? Because and correct me if I'm wrong, but so you don't necessarily do art as a ongoing thing for how you make a living. So what was the plan for that?
well, I would do art to make a living if I had like a set plan as to how to, but
I think everybody would.
yeah,
If someone was dropping some money in your pocket, you would. Yes, absolutely.
but
But,
like the main thing
mhm.
that you caught me in the middle of, like right now, is where I am in life is just constantly improving my skill and every night trying to get a fan base. And like my main goal throughout art, no matter what, is to try and inspire other people. Like it doesn't really matter if I'm a bum or whatever. Like the main goal for me is just to inspire people. And I guess like working on major properties, that would be a bonus because I could inspire a lot of people. But you know,
I totally agreed. I mean, as an African American, yeah, I mean that would make your visibility much higher, and you would be able to potentially inspire a lot of young African Americans who don't per se know that there are people who look like them creating comics. So I know what you mean by that.
mhm.
Are there any African American creators that you're familiar with that you are a fan of who work traditionally for Marvel or DC?
Uh, Off the top of my head, I can't think of one right now. I probably know a few, but I know it's one animator. He went to, I think, South Korea not a while ago, and he's been working with a, huh?
Deshaun Thomas?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that dude's awesome. But,
So we have a couple of questions, and so let's jump into those. And I've got more questions for you as well. And like I said, we'll make time, everybody, as we get around 10 o'clock, is when we'll kind of pull back and address the things we were going to talk about regarding the new contest with WHYT Manga, the test flight rules this month, and Saturday Wars, our Kickstarter, and kind of a special message around that for all of our fans and supporters. So a couple of questions again. If you want to ask questions to Desmond or myself, please make sure that you do so either on the Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/SaturdayAM. You can also do it on the Pilot Manga page for those of you who are members of the private Pilot Manga group on Facebook. You can do it via the Q&A app, which is actually embedded within the Hangouts tool that you have on your Google Chrome. Or you can do it just via the straight-up Google chat. So you've got a couple of different ways to get questions to us. Right now I'm responding to a question from Facebook from Tiana Conyers, who asked, she has two questions for Desmond. Desmond, her first question was, did you know about Saturday AM before Animation?
no.
Tiana, I could have told you that, Tiana. And the second question is, were you ready for what you were getting into with Saturday AM, or were you surprised?
I would say I was surprised a little bit.
I was like, man, let me hear the answer on this one because I know the answer. But go ahead.
Yeah. It's definitely. How do I say it?
You wouldn't call it.
I'm learning to swim. Let's put it like that.
I was gonna say you wouldn't call it a cakewalk.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question, Tiana, and I hope, as I've said many times on many previous Q&As, Desmond, obviously, we met Desmond before we started the test flight program, and we have been really taken with Desmond's work. We think that Desmond, I view art very similar to sports, and I think that I view everything in sports, frankly, but I view art very similar to sports, and particularly if you look at a sport like football or soccer, as it's called in the United States, but football around the world. And there are three ways you become a football player. One is that you're just insanely talented at a young age, and they see you and they take you for a trial. And if you're really, really good, then you basically go to school and are essentially raised by this major football club in many of the major European or South American countries. So, if you're like this awesome, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, then you may be scouted and then recruited and then basically go to school, get raised, and get trained at a club like Manchester United, which is one of the biggest clubs in the world, or Real Madrid or Barcelona. And so they have this youth academy. The second way, of course, is that you make a name for yourself. You're a bigwig. You've done phenomenally well for a smaller institution. And they come along and say, hey, you're really good. Come work with us. And they snap you up. And the third way is that you just kind of work your way up. You just kind of work your way through the motions, and eventually, you get kind of brought in, as maybe like a pickup, a person or something of that nature. So the aspect of that in terms of art that I think we kind of look at for ourselves is that there are creators, traditionally there are creators that we see on other sites where like that person is amazing, they should be doing stuff with us. And then the test flight, you could say, is kind of like an academy. We look at creators that we think are up and coming. We try to work with them to develop them to be the level that we think would be awesome both for them and for us. And then, of course, we find people occasionally that have done things to kind of get themselves into a position to be noticed, but they haven't necessarily taken that next step. And we approach those individuals, and of course, every single one of those three different segments I talked about basically have to get put through the motions. We look at different ways to determine whether or not you are the right fit, and the right fit, means the right fit. It's like a shoe. Every piece has to work in concert with everything else. So, we do look at how people behave, how they carry themselves, their professionalism, their work ethic, if they can take criticism. All these various aspects, as well as talent level, are chief amongst them. So as Desmond said, that's one thing I try to make clear. As I said to you guys in the past, winning the test flight is the easy part. Getting in Saturday AM and having to deal with me and the other guys within my footprint, having to have deadlines, having to have pressure, having to have real focus on your quality level, and you're trying to boost that quality level. These are all things that are extremely difficult mentally and emotionally. If you're not ready for that, if you can't handle it from us, it's very suspect you'll handle it from Marvel or DC or those guys. So yeah, that was a great question. I thought Desmond answered it very well himself, but it's not an easy scenario. So let's see what else we have here. We have some more questions I know I saw here. A couple of questions from our good friend Amit. Let's see what Amit's got here. Ahmed asks a question of you, Desmond. He says, what was the first fan art that you ever drew? And followed up that question with just a question of, and why did you draw it?
Oh, man, the first fan art I ever drew?
Yep.
I think I was like around 3 years old, and I drew a Muppet.
3 years old.
Yeah, so it's probably not the deepest answer that you wanted, but yeah, I was watching Sesame Street, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna draw that, and drew that real quick, and yeah. But I guess some of the first stuff that I started putting time into, like digitally, was probably either Spider-Man or Ryu from Street Fighter. But yeah.
Okay. And so Desmond, and so you just brought that up, and that was a question as well. Given your age, because I said you're not as young as some of our creators, but you are in that wheelhouse of being younger than than the oldest people in our group. What do you make of the digital aspect of art? I mean, do you work digitally yourself?
Yeah, every now and then I'll try and bounce back and forth between digital and traditional because it's important to, have both of those skill sets. But in terms of just getting stuff done, mostly I use digital. But if I'm like at a convention or something doing commissions, then yeah, that's where the traditional part comes in. Break out the markers and everything and do that.
What way do you tend to work? Because your color work is really good. For people who, again, seen issue 16, you have a gallery of Desmond stuff in there. Your color work, was always something that impressed us. I mean, obviously, we're very invested with it. And we think that, you're not white manga today, and as I said, the soccer mentality, the soccer analogy I use, there's no guarantee you will be, but we certainly think that there are elements of your work that show us that there's a real gigantic potential within you. And your answer to this is actually going to tie into a question that Antonio Dela Cruz just asked. So walk me through though how like what sort of things do you consider to be your strengths?
Well, definitely color. Well, yeah, strengths. I would say action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like my main strength. Action and character design and just concept and whatnot.
And
Those are
like, who are some creators that you admire, manga creators? You have to name
come again.
three artists between manga and anime and Western comics, and they can be one of each. They can be all three in one area. Who are three artists that you consider just like the people who really inspire in video games? Three artists that you just think are like the artists that you like.
Well, I wouldn't say they're not really widely known, and it's not like artists from who work on a lot of major projects. But one is Jeffrey Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of the people who are with Udon Entertainment, like Jeffrey Cruz, Omar Dogan, and let's see, Robert Porter. Like those are, they have like the styles that I aspire to like get to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting group. Okay, yeah, Udon. I mean, I know Udon guys. That's an interesting group. All right, and so Antonio then asked from that standpoint then about your strengths and stuff like that. He says, walk us through, or can you talk a little bit? He asked actually about the design process for Master Multiplayer World of Ghosts, especially the red controller that the main character uses. And I think that's actually interesting because Antonio doesn't know the development process that you and I went through with this. But the red controller actually is a really good example of an area that you really kind of made your own. But talk about the red controller, and then let's talk about some of the characters.
Well, with the red controller, it was mainly I was taking advice from you as terms of how you wanted it to look. You gave me a few different examples. At first you were looking towards something very Jack Kirby, lots of tubes and different designs, and then it was make it something that could be somewhat future-proof and believable in the world and everything, and like looking for inspiration in like a lot of the different technologies that we have right now. And so with the red controller, I came up with a controller encased in like this touch-sensitive glass with some buttons that light up, and basically I made a controller as if I were to be in competition with another motion controller console or something to that effect, while simultaneously having it have the ability to have other functionalities that you would find in like a smartphone or something.
Mm-hmm. And what I'll say just real quickly, Antonio, is that we had this is a concept I developed several years ago, back during I think the second or third book of Harry Potter. I developed this. I was in the game industry, and I was really impressed with the breakout hit that Harry Potter was, and they were giving me deals to turn Harry Potter into video games from EA. And at the same time, I was telling a lot of people that's what my job was. I was a licensing director. I mean, I was a licensing director, and I was looking at these properties like Naruto, and I was saying Naruto is Harry Potter, except Harry Potter meets ninjas. You guys know the whole thing I talked about regarding Pitch. And I kept thinking, I'm like, well, what's the next sort of like Harry Potter meets? And I thought, well, Harry Potter meets video games, and so the idea kind of came from there. And during that time, of course, the Nintendo Wii was getting ready to get launched, and I was very familiar with what they were doing because I've been privy to the stuff they were building ahead of time, and so I knew what was happening with that Wii controller. And so it was one of those things where if you look at the initial story that's on the website, the controller looks very similar to a Wii Remote. And again, for all of you guys who are developing your properties, as you move forward with properties that you are serious about turning into different things, you have to be cautious of using things that are so much of an influence on you, because once you do that, you leave yourself open to be legally vulnerable. Nintendo could have Mass Multiplayer World of Ghosts become this gigantic thing, and Nintendo could say, hey, that's based off the Wii mode. And even though we took a lot of liberties with it, they would be right. So my guidance to Desmond was to go an entirely different route. And what Desmond produced, I remember saying to Desmond, I'm like, think of this the way Apple thinks of products. This is before they announced the iWatch. And so Desmond, what I was really impressed with, we actually were, because I use whatever is at my disposal. And I was working with another artist to develop the controller because the other artist was more of an industrial designer. And but Desmond came up with this concept with the controller that I liked a lot. And so yeah, Desmond really knocked it out the park. Desmond, and I think that's one of the key things that Desmond said one of his strengths is because Desmond took the same approach for some of the ghosts. So if you guys have seen a lot of the promotional art and stuff, you've seen some of the characters that are the central characters in Saturday AM. In Mass Multiplayer with the Ghosts, who are the major ghosts. Your controller can create this ghost, kind of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure can create a stand. Your controller can create this physical thing. It's called a ghost, and you can control it. And the two ghosts that will be kind of like big stars for us is called Daedalus Bond is one of them. The other one's called Viper Neo. And Desmond, you took a really interesting approach to, particularly with Daedalus Bond. So you want to talk a bit about Daedalus Bond because he was already a very iconic-looking character. He's this big Hulk-like character with this sort of matted dreadlock-style hair, and then he's got this this kind of ionic energy that kind of forms this pattern on his face and his body. You want to talk a bit about the choices you took with that because you took some really interesting choices on that, particularly with the neon.
Yeah, it was with the neon. I guess I was mainly influenced by stuff like Tron, so going for a simplistic neon layout design on them and whatnot. But in terms of the rest of them and the changes I made with that, I always, whenever I hear the concept and description of them, the main thing that stands out to me is dark matter. It's like a lot of what he's composed of. So when I create him, and when he transforms or whatever and can do a lot of the things that he can do, I want to have like that fluid energy, just it's cosmic black energy, I guess is how I would describe it. But and how I intend to render it in the future. But yeah, those are the main things.
So far you've worked on a couple of the ghost characters, obviously, and we had many ghosts designed via the previous artist, which was Eric Michael Ella, an artist who helped us start Saturday AM and also created a property that we will be seeing again in the future called Posebots. But who's been your favorite ghost to draw so far? I know I was, obviously not giving anything away to the story, but who's your favorite ghost so far?
It's one named Rasputin Aya.
Rasputin Aya, yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. It's mainly because I've been drawing like a lot of warrior females lately, so it helped out. But Daedalus Bond is he's getting up there. I like Viper Neo because he's a ball, but he's actually, you'd be surprised how difficult he can be to draw sometimes because it's being able to convey the motions that he's doing with only like an inch of limb.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's fun drawing all of them. And I feel like we're all gonna get to know the characters better as time goes on, and we'll all have favorites and fall in love with them.
Well, I know that the stuff you've done with what you call it is with the characters is fantastic, and the stuff that you're building with some of the pages are really awesome as well. So, everyone, basically, we wanted some more stuff from Desmond on it. Plus, we wanted some more pages. So we really want to hit this first chapter out the park, and so we felt like we could just spend a little more time, refine a few things. really deliver, because it's been a year. We launched Saturday AM with Match Multiplayer World of Ghosts back in we had a preview back in mid-November, and then we started our subscription model with the issues itself back in mid-January 2014. So coming up on that year anniversary, it's like we wanted to have Match Multiplayer World of Ghosts hit. We wanted to hit in a really big way, and so so we're working to make that happen. And so, like I said, really excited with Desmond. I think he's got tremendous potential. Hopefully, you guys can watch as he grows as a creator, because the things that we know we're looking for him, we think he pulls off very well. So, having all the kind of come together is going to be exciting to watch. So we're really pumped about Desmond's growth on That's What the Goes. Particularly, like I said, That's What the Goes is really in so many ways. And one of the things is that the lead character is it's not a white kid, it's not a black kid, it's a South Asian kid, from India. And he's from America, but his parents are from India. And so you rarely ever see that in comic books, much less manga. And so we're really excited about that, because we think that it can be something really exciting for our company in terms of helping us continue to expose people to what we do. And we think once the property really takes off, we think it's going to excite and inspire a lot of young children who maybe, again, wouldn't have known that chance for the sort of stuff that would be a chance, precisely because they don't feel like them are in it. And so we're really excited about that. The cast is going to be huge and global. It's going to be very diverse ethnically. And the story, when you guys see some of the ghosts we have coming up and some of the action sequences, you're going to be blown away. So I can't tell you how excited we are about Match with the World of Ghosts. A couple more questions for Desmond, and then we will start to prepare for the second part of this podcast, where we talk about Test Flight and the new WHYT MANGA contest and our Kickstarter and some other things. So please get those questions in for Desmond if you've got any questions there. Let's see here. Let's see. So Desmond, as far as like obviously you did a fantastic job on Neil. You redesigned him, and that is the definitive Neil, and it really sets the bar for the way our series will kind of look and work and things like that. Where do you hope that Match Multiplayer World goes? Where do you think that can actually take us?
Well, I'm hoping you'll be able to see it from space one day. But it's
me too.
It's looking. I mean, I hope that we get everything in order with the comic, and then we move on to merchandising and get a video game, and maybe get a little OVA for it. Just a lot of stuff. Get a show on Cartoon Network, run after Tenkai Nights or something, and then just take off.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. One thing I wanted to ask you, with you just saying that is, so what when you think about properties that are out there and so forth, what do you collect toys? Are there properties out there that you really kind of inspire you because they're so big and broad? They become toys and become video games and all these different
things. Properties in that aspect, I would say like the main one would be Pokemon.
Pokemon fan?
Yeah, I still have some of my old cards that I used to collect all the time, and every now and then I like to make fan art for it every now and then, and watch the show, and definitely more than anything play the video games.
So have you checked out? They've got 2 new video games coming out, right?
Yeah, they got one Omega Ruby and Sapphire, those 2. Anyway, the main one that I'm looking at is Pokken, which is the Namco Bandai, the people who did the Tekken series. They're making a fighting game for Pokemon, so
Huh.
I'm kind of hyped about that.
That does sound interesting. I think I had read that some time ago, but I honestly have kind of walked away from paying much attention to the game industry, just because I'd much rather watch stuff about Apple than the game industry. Yeah, that's interesting. And so you're a subscriber to Saturday AM, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you are a subscriber. Like we do sometimes with our creators at the free subscriptions, but you actually subscribed before we gave you the answer to the Ghost Kid.
that's
What
right.
what properties do you like in Saturday? Like, what do you read in Saturday?
When I get the chance, look at Apple Black every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main one. Was TX?
Oh, the new TTX.
Yeah, that one. That one. I love the background design that he does in those.
Absolutely. Interesting connection on that. TTX by the creator Vertical Fish, not his real name, ladies and gentlemen. But Vertical Fish, uh, he's South Asian, and two, so it shows our diversity. And two, he was actually the guy I was talking to about potentially developing the controller before Desmond delivered this fantastic design that has got some really cool tricks to it. But I don't even think, Desmond, you know some of the stuff that the controllers are going to do in the future. So that's you designed it really well because you actually designed not knowing what I got planned for it. That's awesome. Okay, and so then we got a few questions here. Let's see, question here. Uh, Antonio De La Cruz asks, "How do you receive the story from the writer? Like, what's your progress on making it into a comic?"
Um, well, my process in terms of the getting the story in the comic, you give me a story layout of what's going to happen, and from there I make a section off what is going to be in what panel, and then I take it to thumbnails and get the okay on those. Then I take them to rough sketch. Then finally I ink and render it.
Yeah, I mean there are two styles, Antonio, and to anyone else who's asking this, there are two styles of writing that you can do. One is called the Marvel method. It was pioneered by Stan Lee. Some people say it's what caused a lot of the controversy around Stan Lee, where creators claimed that Stan Lee didn't actually create a lot of the Marvel Comics characters because he would basically say, hey, do this comic where this guy is a god and he comes to Earth and he's got a stick, and the stick, when he taps it on the ground, becomes a hammer, and he becomes a god, and have him fight this monster, and we'll call it Thor. And it's like it's a lot of information, but it's also kind of a lot of circus special information. Those guys then would basically take the raw nuggets of what he said, create the costumes, create the sub characters, create the adventure, and just go from start to finish. So that was a perception. Regarding the Marvel method. The Marvel method is still used to this day. I mean, it's considered a very popular method for artists because artists do like to have control where they get to determine what they're going to draw and things like that. There's an opposite method, which is basically full scripts, where you basically write out almost like something like a screenplay, and you say exactly what's going to happen here, 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 here. You literally describe like if a fight scene's happening, you literally describe the fight scene, and then you expect your artist to render it. Obviously, the artist will offer new ideas, but you expect the artist, for the most part, to render it verbatim the way you put it. Both of them are legitimate methods in terms of how comics are created or mangas created, and so it just depends on your comfort level. We will, with our writers aspect of our contest, we will kind of filter between both of those because we think that if you're a writer, just like if you're an artist, you should have the discipline work in either format. I think that's important for the creator who wishes to excel at that particular level. Okay, so it is 9:55, and I think that's about all the questions that we have currently for Desmond. As I said, we're going to do the 25 minutes on questions specifically related towards things we're trying to do with Kickstarter and Saturday AM and test flights and all those things. I know a lot of you guys have those questions. If you do have questions, Desmond will obviously still be on the call as we discuss these things. So please feel free to ask a question to Desmond, and I will get it as I get to it. Our resident young man, Alvaro Sanchez Byrne, who's one of my favorite members of the Pilot Manga group, just the things he says, literally from the things he says. He says that Desmond's voice sounds like Will Smith's. Desmond, you sound like. So that's your compliment for the evening, Desmond.
All right.
All right. All right. So let's now shift gears. First of all, thank you everybody for asking those questions. Again, if you do have questions for Desmond Thompson, who is our special guest tonight, please feel free to put them within the Facebook fan page or the Facebook Pilot Manga group. You can also render those questions in the Q&A app, which is part of the Hangout service that you have in your Google Chrome, or you can put it in the chat window, which many of you guys have associated with your Gmail. Any of those questions that we get for Desmond, we'll ask, so feel free to get those in if you have any more questions for Desmond. Again, remember Desmond's art can be seen this month, or this issue, in issue 16. You can get it. It's over 100 pages. It's on our website right now. You can get it for $1.99. But why would you do that when you can simply subscribe to Saturday AM? It's just $5. You get 20 issues a year, and you start with the latest issue. So, of course, at this point, with issue 16, you've missed issues 1 through 15, and we take a break after every 5 issues, so we sell season packs. And you can also get those, and that way you can save money getting the back issues. So if you really want to follow Apple Black, TTX, Methalcolux Nova, Bully Eater, Comatose, which had an awesome chapter this issue, Saigami, which Andrea Voros' birthday is today, so hopefully you guys will wish her a happy birthday. If you're not currently a member of Saturday AM subscription, and you don't have today's issue, by the way, if you were to tweet happy birthday wishes to Andrea, we want to see a whole bunch of those. We will randomly choose winners to give a free issue to, which will be today's free issue. But you can see Desmond's work in issue 16. But again, we hope that you'll subscribe and support Saturday AM as we go forward. Back issues, you can get the season packs. Issue 1 through 5 is $7.50, which is a 25% savings. Sometimes we have it for even less. Issues 6 through 10, which is season 2. You can get it at a discount right now for just $5, which that would normally cost $10. That's a 50% discount. And Season 3 will be debuting as well. Now, Season 3, when it debuts, which will be on Monday, that'll be issue 11 through 15, covering a lot of big titles that came through at that point, including TTX and Methalcolux Nova. When we debut Season 3, Season 2 will be 50 cents. So get Season 2 now while you can. 50% savings. Sometimes you can get it for 80% off. Come Tuesday at 12:01 a.m., you will not have the option of getting Season 1 or Season 2 at a discounted rate. You'll get it for the normal rate of $7.50. Season 3 will begin at $5. So please check those out. It is now 9:59 a.m., and we're going to go ahead and answer questions specific to several things, including the test flight, which is happening for September, the Kickstarter, and then a new contest we have with WHYT Manga. We'll save the Kickstarter for last. So why don't we first, or actually not necessarily last, but why don't we first jump into the test flight? I know you guys have a lot of questions on the test flight. Actually, before we do the test flight, do the WHYT Manga contest. So I will keep you guys on your toes. So the WHYT Manga contest is really simple. From here on out, we would like to do a weekly contest where we want to get the best fan art. And if we get some cool fan art of our characters, and it can be our characters meeting your characters, it can be our characters fighting other characters like Goku or Naruto or Batman, if you render that and submit it in our forum on our website, WHYT Manga will personally choose the best one. He will not only show it during one of his videos, but he will also, call you out and so forth, and make sure that you are given the white manga treatment, so to speak. And it also will create an ad around your artwork, so your artwork will be seen by a great number of people because we'll be using your art. So we've talked about this before, but we're going to now kind of package that all around White and his eye for really fantastic artwork, his personal popularity and ability to excite and work with a lot of young talent. And so White's been wanting to do a contest like this for a while, and we thought, well, what a great way to do it. Plus, we can put it together with our new forums. So if you are not familiar with our forums, go to www.saturday-am.com. Look in the navigation window right there in the center of the screen. You'll see where it says forum. We now have an active forum where you can post comments, ideas, critiques, and so on about both content that we're putting on the website, as well as things like Q&As, like the pilot manga group, like test flights, and of course, like our upcoming Kickstarter. So we want to get more interaction in our forums, and we thought, what an excellent way to do that right here. So this way you'll be on our website more frequently, and it'll get you used to using our forums. Eventually, we will be moving the test flight in the pilot manga group in its entirety to our website, because it affords us the opportunity to speak to people who do not like or do not use Facebook. And there are a lot of artists who've written us and said they don't use Facebook for various reasons, but they would like to be a part of our group, and we don't want to turn those people away. But it also puts it in a context in which we get the opportunity to speak to more people who are not familiar with us, like you guys asked Desmond, because they may discover us through finding someone's artwork. So, so we want to make sure that we slowly get you guys over there, but this is going to be an exciting way to do it. What better way than to have an awesome contest run by White Manga himself, being promoted through White Manga's videos, and there'll be some other neat things that we do as well for the winners of that. There'll be a weekly contest. We choose the best person, and again, the concept here is that the artwork has to be fan-oriented, featuring our characters, and it can be our characters versus each other, our characters versus a popular anime or manga character or video game character, or our characters versus a popular Western comic character. So that's pretty much the idea. And you can put your character in there as well if you've got a comic character, as long as it's tasteful. If it's something that's not tasteful, then obviously not only will you not win, but you won't be a part of the group much longer. So that's that idea. So I'm sure there'll be some questions there. In fact, I think a few questions came through while I was mentioning that. So I'll check real quickly if there's any there. Again, if you have questions, comments, and the stuff that we're talking about, again, we're going to be going for about another 22 minutes. We got plenty of time. Post them in the chat window, post them on Facebook, or post them on the Q&A within the Hangouts app, and I will address them while we're talking. So that's that. And let's see. I thought there were some questions that may have come up here in this minute. Some people wished her happy birthday. That's great. All right. So Alvaro, so let's now move to test flight. Alvaro Sanchez Byrne asks a question. We'll actually go to the Kickstarter next, but let me address this question real quick. Alvaro asks, can there be a winner who is under 18? And the answer is, of course there can. We don't. I don't prefer to have someone under 18 for our various contests because, there's a question of maturity. There's some legal questions as well when you get into stuff like that. But it happens. So no one should feel, like I said, our group is all about community. It's all about supporting and recognizing the inherent dignity of every single comic creator who wishes to pursue comics. And I've said this before, where I got the idea for pilot manga, aside from what Japan does with the Hop Step Award, is really simple. And it's because I grew up as an African American going to comic conventions and usually being the only African American there. And so when I started working in the industry, some 15 to 20 years later, working in the video game industry and traveling to video game conferences or anime shows, because we had a presence in anime shows, and I would see cosplay really starting to take off in the early to mid 2000s. black guys and black women dressed up as characters, and you'd see, Latino, you'd see South Asian, you'd see, white people, you'd see people who were maybe a little overweight, but you saw people dressed up, and no one made fun of them, no one makes fun of them, everyone accepts each other for who they are, and I thought, what a lovely and impressive community. How amazing it would be if all of our lives were like that, where we could just be who we are and not be made fun of for what we like. And that when I grew up, that wasn't the case. And so I was so impressed with that idea that when I started the Pilot Manga group, I wanted to make sure that we did the same thing. And so that's the basic idea of the Pilot Manga. So age really should not be a factor. Again, the only reason it would be a factor is for the questions of maturity, which is important, and also questions of legality, which certainly is important. So that's the basic thing there, Alvaro. Let's talk about Kickstarter, and we'll come back to the test flights, because I know most of the questions are about the test flights. So for those of you who don't know, and obviously you can see here, I can see here that we've got about 20 people here. We have, at this point in time, 800 fans on our Facebook page. We have over 200. We have about 250 fans on our Pilot Manga page on Saturday AM, Facebook. We have thousands of visitors to our website on a regular basis. We have over, I think it's about 600 subscribers to our YouTube channel, which our YouTube channel is certainly not super slick or anything like that, but now with the Q&A video series that you're watching right now, we have a lot of decent videos up there, but they're not like slick like IGN or The Verge or anything like that. We have a good number of subscribers and growing to our digital magazine. And all of our individual creators who make up Saturday AM, they all have their own spheres of influence. So when I look at the number of people that we talk to on a regular basis, it's in the it's well over 5,000 individuals. Because of course there's crossover at times. So the reason I'm having this conversation with you guys is that I always try to keep it real with you guys. So I'm going to keep it real for a second and say that it's frustrating when we're doing what we're doing and there are people who are in one of our groups, for example, like our test flight, and they're not, they're in our test flight group, and maybe they're not actual subscribers to our magazine. That's amazing to me. Because you would think that we would have fans who would follow us from one place to the to the other. It's like if you're a fan of our magazine, you would think that you would want to and you want to create manga, that you would want to be in the Pilot Manga group, and vice versa. But there are people in our Pilot Manga group who aren't fans of Saturday AM, and that's okay. I mean, we don't we've never said you had to be. But the reason it's important is that we're trying to build something very unique here. We're not in this for the glory. We're trying to build something here that is truly unique in the sense that what you will see from us, if we are successful, is the complete transformation of the way that comic books are handled, the way that the digital industry is handled. If you want to have a career making webcomics, you better pray that we're successful. Because right now, there is no plan as to how the webcomic industry moves forward. There's not a plan for any of our competitors. They're making money by you giving them your stuff for free. They put it up on the website for free. Everyone gets to check it out, and they sell advertising against it. And good for them. That's a great business model. But if you are a young lady who traditionally does not get a shot in the comic book industry, if you are a young person of color who traditionally does not get a shot in the comic industry, then you have to ask yourself, why are you supporting us? And the answer, the only answer, is because we are trying to change that. That's it. We're the ones trying to change that paradigm. Whether your name is Amit or Tiana, whether your name is Alvaro, whether your name is Charlton, whether you're white, black, brown, whether you're gay or straight, whether you're from Vietnam or New Zealand or some small town in North America, we are the ones who are trying to change that. We make our content available for a fee. No one's getting rich on our side of the fence. When we sit there and produce over 100 pages of a book like issue 16, and we make it available for people to embrace, and all we ask is for $1.99 for that issue, or $5 for 20 issues throughout the year. We've had people laugh at us and say that is the stupidest business model we've ever seen. How are you ever going to make money if you sell your product for that low? What they don't know is that the fact that we even sell anything is tremendous, because as some of you guys do, as most of us know happens, most manga is consumed by people for free. Few people actually pay Kishimoto or Oda or Murata-san their actual rate that it costs to buy the book in their language. Few people actually do that. And if you're in the digital realm like we are, producing original content, the only thing you do is give it away for free to some big website who then uses it to make money on advertising. And we thought about doing that. We thought about doing that. But we quickly decided we're not the group to do that. Why? Because we want to make you individually into a star. We want to make your property something successful. And the only way to do that, first of all, is not to take stuff that's crap. Why would we try to take someone, no matter how nice of a person you are, and turn your property into something big when it's crap? The other sites don't care. It's not their business model to care. We care. We stand for trying to do the right thing. You can disagree with how we do it. You can disagree with the choices we make about the creators that we bring on. But there is no doubt that the men and women that I've assembled are doing things, creating the right type of future for future creators to actually prosper in. Like I said, before I started my footprint, there was no determination to make sure that people of color got into the industry. In fact, there have been a lot of in recent times, companies have gotten in trouble. Public companies, big companies that you guys all know, gotten in trouble for how few women actually work in their company, for how few minorities actually work on their top comic books. Name me a black creator, Asian creator working on Batman, except for Jim Lee, of course. Working on X-Men. Storm's got a comic that just came out. She's an African weather goddess, one of the most popular black female superheroes in the world, and her comic is not being written or drawn by someone black. Don't even get me started about Latino creators or South Asian creators. What we're trying to do is change things. And we're not trying to change things by, holding up a picket fence. We're trying to change things by doing really damn good stuff. That Apple Black, in my opinion, is every damn bit as good as Naruto, every damn bit as good as One Piece, and it's drawn by a young man from Nigeria. That's something that every single person who loves comics should celebrate. Everybody should celebrate and get behind WHYT Manga for the fact that he simply exists. The notes that I've gotten from people around the world, from Africa in particular, who literally are crying, in the letter at least, that's what it seems like when I read the letter, crying because they did not know that someone who looked like them could create artwork that good. That tells you how screwed up the system has been since I was a kid, and long before that. I have no doubt that when Massive Multiplayer World of Ghosts becomes the success that it will become, that we will have young South Asian kids around the world excited for the first time because a major property, not some, property that's got some, name that's native to their language, but a property that's born in America and has a Hollywood sort of feel to it, features a lead character who looks like them. Because everyone in this group knows that just because a character is black or brown or has hair that's curly, what we know that the traditional manga creators don't know is that that has not stopped us from embracing those properties. So it shouldn't stop a young white kid from embracing ours. So the reason I want to have this conversation is that, we don't do this stuff for free. We don't do this stuff for giggles. We are not fanboys. I am not here because I get jollies thinking, oh my God, so-and-so liked my post. I am not that guy. I'm a 40-year-old man with high cholesterol, I assure you. I am not the person that will sit there and be caught up in things that are frankly bullshit. That's not my interest level. I make money. I try to make other people money. But I am serious about trying to change the way the industry works. And what does that mean then for you guys? That means that if you believe in what we're doing, then we've tried to make everything as simple as possible. Instead of buying a Starbucks coffee one day, which will set you back a $5 bill, you may not spend the full $5, but trust me, if you get a mocha latte, you're dropping a $5 bill if you got a full $5 in your pocket. Instead of spending $5 on Starbucks one day or on McDonald's, spend it on us. Support our guys. Add to the number of people we have subscribing to their things. If you're not old enough to get it, here's the one thing that I know better than anybody, because most of you have touched a product I've created, and that's the beauty of being who I am, is that I've created product that has been successful around the world. And so what I know is that everybody's got different money situations, but I know that you all find money when you want to, whether it's to play Destiny, whether it's to, buy a new pair of Air Jordans, which I know is not a big deal anymore, but work with me, to buy an iPhone. You find money when you want to. We're not asking you for tens of thousands of dollars, but if you really believe in what we're doing, you can at least subscribe. Ask mom and dad, subscribe. However you do it, don't do anything illegal. But yes, subscribe. I'm asking for it. Which brings me to our Kickstarter. Why is this Kickstarter important? Why particularly am I talking about this to you all regarding the Kickstarter? Because we have over 5,000 friends and fans. At least. We're asking for $10,000. Now that's a lot of money. I'm not, I'm a very smart man, so I'm not saying this and you guys are like, oh my God, $10,000, that's a lot of money. That's more than my car. That's a lot of money if you even have a car. I get that. I understand that. The $10,000, by the way, does not go towards my, brand new collection of sports cars. You'll be happy to know that I have zero. Well, yeah, zero. If I could get around town on a skateboard, based on the money that we make at Saturday AM, I should be doing that, then I would. The Kickstarter is important because that $10,000 does two things. It prints the book, which if you guys, again, one of the reasons I started the company and did it the way that we did it is because I know, having created products that a good portion of you have either touched or been a part of or bought, that producing physical product is expensive. It's not cheap, it's expensive. Your generation, many of you, live in a world where not everything has to be digital. In fact, you live in a world now to where things can be produced digitally via 3D printing. So because of that opportunity that you guys have, you know, I did not want to do physical printed products, but you guys asked us. You said you wanted physical product. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do what everybody else does. I want to do something that respects our fans and also fits our mission, which is to show the world that real talented people are out there, and they should be working for Marvel. They should be working for Viz. They should be working for Shueisha. They should be working for Nickelodeon, but they're not getting the chance for various reasons, whether it's because they're not, you know, this or not that, because they don't look a certain way, because they don't know the same sort of people that can squeeze them into a job. Talent-wise, though, they should be. And because that was my mission statement, I thought, what better way to show the world than to produce an original book that did something different that would make people pay attention to us. And that's what Saturday Wars is all about. It's a crossover series that takes our characters that you guys love, Apple Black, Santa from Apple Black, and even Ruzaki, I think it pops up in there, and Sal from Bully Eater, Ether from Methalclux Nova, so on, all the way over to Afternoon WebEx like Spoon and so on and so forth, and puts them all together. And in addition to that, we're talking to a number of webcomic creators that you guys love, and they're going to be in it as well. We haven't announced them yet, but we will be. So if you love things like Marvel's Civil War and DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, or Futures End, I think is the new one called, if you like stuff like that, I mean, who would have thought even a year ago, we've only been in business a year, that we would even have the sort of ability to attract interest like that from other creatives? So we're doing this for all the right reasons. $10,000 does not go to us, by the way. To produce a physical book, a physical trade paperback, you're talking, it's in the neighborhood between $5,000 and $6,000, particularly with the way that we want to have it printed. When you then talk about the things you have to have for shipping costs, because you got to pay for shipping, then that adds a good chunk of it. You're talking like $30. We have a lot of international fans. We have a lot of international fans because we have a lot of international creators. You're talking about spending a lot of money to ship stuff out. And then we are going to try to have some surprises with some other artists that you guys are big fans of to do some cameo work. And if we do that, then we got to pay them. So whereas WHYT Manga will donate his incredible artwork to us, he designed this beautiful cover, and he's also created many of the characters, the new characters who are in there, the villains. And he's also doing a big portion of the story with Apple Black. WHYT by himself is our superstar easily. But if we bring in, you know, another creator like a LaShawn Thompson or something like that, we got to pay him. And so all that $10,000 goes towards those things. It doesn't go to any of us. It goes towards those things. And so it is. It's a lot of money. I get that. But there are other webcomic people out there who've done similar. They've asked for $20,000. And their idea maybe is not as complex as ours is. And not only did they hit it and hit it fast, but they blew past it. There's one that just happened called Valor, which is an anthology book featuring several webcomic creators, females, who did a retelling of various fairy tales. They asked for $20,000. They raised $109,000. $109,000 for us would radically change our business. It would enable us to do things that you guys want to see us do, like animation, action figures, and so on. And we have those plans, and we will get to those things. But how fast we get to those things is another question. But you have the chance to help us get there sooner. And if nothing else, just producing that book for $10,000 is the key. And so you ask yourself, well, what does that mean for me? It means that we've designed rewards that will speak to each and every single creator, person that we have. Go look on our page. You can see all the different rewards that we have, and You can find it, of course, at www.saturday-am.com/wars/. Can't beat it. WARDS, wars/. You go to that, you go to our website, you click on Saturday Wars, you'll see the link there for our Kickstarter. And right now we're at like, 300 some bucks out of 10,000. And we thought we'd be much better than that. Hell, we thought we'd at least be at 1,000. What does that mean, or what does that look like for us to get to our goal? When you have over 5,000 unique members, unique fans, unique supporters, all we're asking for is a small portion of that. Think about it this way. If 100 people donated $100, we would be at $10,000 in an instant. If you want the Saturday Wars book, it's $25. But you get a ton of other things with it. And if you donate several $100s, you get like a personal image of anything that you want from WHYT Manga or Andrea Voros, whose birthday is today, or Mikhail Dingle, and so on. You get from top Wally Wynn, our designer and the artist of Comatose, you get a personally developed image from one of these superstars of webcomics. You get a calendar that tells you things about what's happening in 2015 for Saturday AM that you guys don't even know about yet. But that calendar will come out and it'll have dates earmarked for things that you guys don't even know we're doing yet, as well as original artwork on every single month. Stickers, bookmarks, a making of book that will have some art and some things in there that you guys, trust me, will not have seen. Some hints of things that we have coming up in the future. But let's not forget a 200-page full-color book featuring certainly some of your favorite characters and more that you guys probably are fans of and didn't realize, you never thought you'd ever see the day that Santa would meet so-and-so. And you also get your name in the book. So, it's important to talk about this because I believe in what we're doing. And I believe that with the fan base that we have, we should be showing everybody else how you do it. I know we've got some amazing fans. The conversation you guys have in Test Flight is stunning. I've never seen a group of more eloquent, intelligent, passionate individuals and talented individuals in one space. And the fact that you guys are in our space is something that is the most gratifying of feelings. But this is the internet, and so I know that means that there are lots of people who love what you do. When it comes time to actually have to stand up and support it, they disappear. And I have no illusions of the fact that we will have some people like that. We have 800 people as of tonight on our Facebook fan page. Do we have 800 subscribers? I'll just say that I guarantee you most of those people, not most, but a good chunk of those people are not subscribers to Saturday AM. Now, that's our job to convince them to be subscribers. And the way business works, it's really funny when you're building something like this. Like I said, I've done this with a lot of properties. I was, worked on making Yu-Gi-Oh! A big sensation in America when I brought it to Blockbuster Corporate and put it in all the Blockbuster stores. What I can tell you is that there are some things that you see coming a mile away and you know it's going to be big, and there are other things that take a while to build, and when they finally break, everyone is dumbfounded as to how they didn't see this thing coming. Well, we think we're going to be that group that people are going to be like, how in the hell did we not see this coming? Diverse, young, focused, cool properties, fantastic name like Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX and My Footprint and Saturday Plus. Next year we'll have our more mature line called Saturday PM. You don't get to do the stuff that we're doing without a plan. And we've got the plan, and we've got the execution. You don't make it to 16 issues if we're just screwing around. We're not screwing around. So I'm asking you, Help us get to that level. This is a big challenge for us, $10,000 in 25 days. It's a gigantic challenge. Help us get there. How can you help us get there? Again, if 100 people gave $100, we get there. But I know not everyone can do that. But I do ask you to do more than what you think you can do. If you think, well, I'll just do $5, give 25. At least get the book. Why would you not get the book? At least get the book. If you're part of an anime club, tell your anime club about it. Ask us what we can do to provide you something that you can then give to your anime club. If you have access to a newspaper, or if you regularly bombard with emails to your favorite comic book or manga website, ask us what we can give you so that you can continue to bombard them so we can get press. I'm floored that some of these websites have not profiled. I still am a bit, frankly, a bit pissed about it, because we work very hard and our content looks excellent. And the notion that somehow we're just not on the radar, when I know I know some of these guys at some of these websites, that we're just not on the radar for them to want to profile us, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. But perhaps they're waiting for us to buy ads. I don't know what they're waiting for, but I know that our guys deserve it. Mario Villarreal, a Latina creator of manga with Wanted Dead or Dead or African Webx title, that alone is a news story. A Latina manga creator. WHYT MANGA, Nigerian creator. Wally Win, a Vietnamese artist with fine art skills, who's producing comics that look like some of the classic 1980s independent comic strips. We have creators who deserve it. And so whatever you can do to help us get the word out, help us raise the funds, and show everyone else in the webcomic space that this thing, Saturday AM, is for real. It won't be forgotten. Hell, it might even be something that means something to you one day. I don't know. We make no promises to you, of course. That is a Ponzi scheme if we make you a promise. We make no promise except for if you help us get to $10,000, you will get that book. Maybe you'll get an image. Your character, if you do it at a certain level, will appear in the story. But that's as far as we go. We're not up. This is, that's just. I'm not even going to dignify the whole thing about Ponzi scheme. That's ridiculous. I've been in business for a very long time, and if you don't know business when you think it's a Ponzi scheme, no offense to whoever may think that, but if you don't know business, that's the only way you can look at us as a Ponzi scheme. So that's what I wanted to say. We have amazing fans. I know we do. And so therefore, it's imperative at 25 days that I let you guys know that we need this. If we don't hit the $10,000, we won't go away. We're going to still keep fighting. It's going to make things slower in terms of us being able to happen, but we're going to still be there. We're going to still have issues 17, 18, 19, and 20 come out on time. We've got some other things planned for the fourth quarter, October, November, December, that's going to blow your socks off, and we're still going to do those things whether we get the $10,000 or not. But we need to show everyone in this industry, and this is a very small industry, I might add. Webcomics are certainly not, no one who goes take their kids to go see Avengers, Age of Ultron, is going to be thinking of webcomics. But if we pull this off, they might. And when they go see that massive multiplayer World of Ghosts movie, they will. And you'll know that if nothing else, you were the guy or the girl who was there before everyone else was there. You were Saturday before it was cool. And that's the key thing to keep in mind. Starting a revolution like this, starting a brand like we're trying to do, it's not easy. But if we are successful, every other webcomic website out there will say, we need to do it like Saturday AM does it. And for some of you, that might be an opportunity. And obviously, if we're successful and we continue to grow, you'll get opportunities with us. So keep all that in mind. Let's, again, we need your help. Get the word out. Bombard other websites. Tell them about Saturday Wars and ask them, why are you guys going to cover this? You know, get the word out about what we're doing. If you want to donate $100, donate $100, because one thing's for certain, you're going to get a lot of the material we talked about, and your character, if you have a webcomic character, your webcomic character is not, you know, disgusting or naked or anything crazy. You know, we can't do a, you know, we cannot put you in a book like Saturday Wars if your webcomic character is named Penis Man. That's not going to happen. So I just want to make sure I nip that in the bud. But if you've got, you know, a character, doesn't matter how popular he is in the webcomic circuit, whether he was ever heard of him, we'll put him in. Because the whole story is about the webcomic characters uniting to stop this evil threat. What could be cooler than having, you know, so-and-so's webcomic that no one's ever heard of called Porcupine Boy working with Sano and Isao and Nil and everyone else to fight the ultimate bad guy? What could be cooler than that? So keep all that in mind. Let's finish up with the test flight. Of course, if you guys have any direct questions, you can reach out to me via the Facebook fan page, or of course you can communicate in any of the various ways that we have available. Let's. I know Amit's got a couple of questions here. So Amit says, where can we find a high-res file of the Saturday AM logo for our mock cover? Amit, it doesn't have to be high-res for the mock cover and the test flight for September. So first of all, let's tell you right now, I know I've heard this from other people in the group. If you simply go on our website and right-click the Saturday AM logo, or just do a Saturday AM logo search on Google, you'll find the logo. It'll be a PNG file, and you can right-click and save it. And that's all. We're not judging you on where you get material like that. That's not the point. We're judging you more so on what you do with it. You know, do you like, if you see the logo in issue number 16 today? By the way, excellent cover by Leonardo Massive. An excellent cover from Leonardo Massive. Be on the lookout for his Islanders, which we're working very hard to make that into the next series of Saturday AM. Yeah, when you look at that, just use that image, and you'll be fine. Let's see here. Amit has another question. Amit's got several questions. That's okay. Amit, by the way, has contributed to our Kickstarter, so we definitely appreciate that, Amit. Amit asks, are artists exempt contests? Amit goes on to ask several questions here. Let's just say up front, yes, the writers section is for writers, period. And the artist section is for either teams of a writer and an artist, or artists. That's why some of the things are identical to the other thing, but obviously some things are specific to the writers because they have different challenges than our artist does, and so we want to test those abilities with the writers. So yeah, just, you got several questions here, Amit. Bottom line is that if you're an artist and a writer, then you don't need to worry about the writers thing. And if you're a writer, you don't do the stuff in the writers thing. You do the stuff that's in the artist package, quote unquote. Amit has another question. If you have questions, guys, send them through either Facebook or the chat, or right here in Google Hangouts. Let's see here. Amit then asks, if our pitch is literally 2 different properties, but the total words of the 2 different properties exceeds the 6-word limit for the pitch, is that all right? So, for those of you who didn't, I know I talk fast. I'm trying to make sure we get through all of this. Let me be clear about the pitch again. The pitch is really simple. Okay. For those of you who don't know what the pitch is what they call a Hollywood pitch. And the basic idea is that in Hollywood, you know, people are on the go so frequently, and I've witnessed this myself, so I know this is real. This is not a conjecture. This is not theory. This is real. You don't have a lot of time in Hollywood. I know it's unbelievable, but you don't. You know, I mean, if you're a small screenwriter, you actually bump into celebrities a lot. If you guys have ever been to LA, you bump into celebrities a lot. I remember I was peeing one time in a bathroom, and I was peeing next to Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson. So you bump into celebrities a lot. It's not Hollywood is not some faraway place. If you go to LA, if you go there on business or you go there to visit friends, if you hang out enough, you will bump into celebrities pretty regularly. It's what they do. But if you've got a pitch, the idea is that you don't have 2 hours to try to tell somebody why your idea is great. You've got to give them a pitch. You've got to get their interest within 6 words or less. And so that's when you see them go. They go, okay, picture this, right? Okay, Dragon Ball Z meets My Little Pony, and you just go at it like that. So the idea that you have, 6 words and you exceed them because you're tying 2 properties together, that's irrelevant. Of course, you can have 30 words up there if you're tying 2 properties together. But the idea is not to go, it's My Little Pony meets Dragon Ball Z with a hint of American Horror Story. It's like, no. Because that's just too much, too complex. And again, what I hear when I hear that is I hear a lot of backstory. I hear a whole lot of backstory. Needless backstory. Because what does American Horror Story have to do with My Little Pony and Dragon Ball Z? Dragon Ball Z and My Little Pony is complicated enough, so therefore it piques my interest. But when you throw a third thing in there that's totally different than the other 2, then I know already that's backstory. That's not relevant to what's happening today. That's backstory. That's a little piece that you think is really cool that you want to throw in there. And so when I ask you a simple question, or when someone that you want to appeal to them for your work asks you a simple question like, what makes this different from X? That's when you then throw in there, well, American Horror Story. Well, here you go. That's backstory, and that's irrelevant. If people don't like what you've got in the characters or in the core plot, then any of the backstory is not going to make them a fan, because backstory in its very definition is the assumption that someone has invested time into your characters to get to the backstory. The backstory is not the first thing they hear about. They want to, the first thing they experience is your character, and they either like your character or they hate your character, and that is how properties work. So that's the key thing to keep in mind when it comes to that. I see we've got some questions in Facebook, so I'm going to switch over to check out what's here on Facebook. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Looks like just a couple of people having it's like Chatula Hernandez and Longelini Vimba and Kobe Dressler and so forth, just kind of joking about a few things there. So that's great. So we'll see what we get there for. So and I see Eli Camacho is throwing some stuff down there. Okay. So yeah, so I mean, it looks like you guys all have some interesting comments, and that's what I love about our group, is that you guys are very smart. This is, it really is. It's humbling to be situated with people from around the world who all are just really talented and really interesting. I mean, the test flights that you guys have been producing has really been amazing. I've been blown away by them, so I really want to just take a moment and just say that you guys are really amazing, and you guys have done this test flight. I think coming up is going to be really difficult because I see a lot of people's stuff looks amazing, but you guys are great, and I for what we've built and for how small we are and for what our ambitions are, that we have any level of support from you guys is humbling. Because there are plenty of times that I can say that we don't deserve it. There are plenty of times that I can say that we want to give up. But when I look at you guys and how you guys communicate with each other and how you guys offer new ideas and the talent level that you guys have, it makes us keep going. And so that's something that cannot be understated. You guys are really amazing, and I really appreciate the time you guys give to us. So I think that's it. I think we got one other comment. I'll just check and see if there's a comment for us. And if it's not, then I will call time on this Q&A, this very special Q&A. Let's see here from Casey Prather. Casey, this may not be anything more than a joke, so I apologize if I put you on blast. Let's see what we got here. It's my thing is loading, so it's taking a while there. Let me come back to the chat app and see if there's any questions in chat. Let's see. Amit asked, "Can we increase the amount of money we donate to the Kickstarter if we don't already donate?" Yes, you can, Amit. Yes, you can contribute to the Kickstarter as much as you want. So just because you've donated something already, you can donate more. The only thing I would say is just keep in mind, guys. That's why I made the plea that I made to you guys. Is that 25 days and that's it. So our objective is to hit it hard for the next 25 days. And like I said, it literally, and I've seen this happen. That's why, if any of you have connections to press, please let them know about us or put me in contact with them, because I've seen this happen. I've seen Kickstarters get a little bit of press from like a small website, but it just happens to catch on. And then another website picks up, another website picks up, and they say, within like 24 hours they've raised 30% of what they need. So it can happen. And we want to do everything in our power to give it a shot. That's all we ask, is for everybody to pool their resources and make us at least have a chance, a fighting chance. And one last thing I'll say as well is that just because you commit to donating money does not mean your money will actually get taken out. If we don't hit our goal, nothing happens. So if you've got family members that you're talking to about this, be sure to tell them that this does not in any way commit you if we don't hit our goal. We have to hit our goal. And that's all that matters. So I'll check back on the Casey thing, but if Casey doesn't have anything for us, then we will skedaddle on then and close the podcast. Let's see here. So let's see here. I'm seeing Casey. Looks like more people keep posting there. I assume it's posts for each other and not for me. I don't know. Let's see here. All right, someone wrote a note to me. Frederick, be sure to wish the creator of Saigami a happy birthday for me. Absolutely, Casey, we'll do that. Gary Alexander Lundy asked, how many pilot manga contests will there be? Hoping this is a good question. Gary, of course it's a good question, and we're going to be doing these every month until we stop. So every month there'll be a new contest. So if you don't appear in this contest, please do not let that affect you. We will be doing these things consistently. Dorothy Blunt asks, when is the deadline for the test? I think she's talking about for the test flight. It's always the 31st of the month, so I think there are 31 days in September. I apologize if that's ignorant because I haven't looked at the calendar lately, but if there are 31 days, then it will be the 31st, and I can check my iPhone real quickly. It's the 30th, so 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 30th of September is the deadline. Kamimra Gamble asks, is it only the judges for test flight that read our manga entry, or is it all the creators of Saturday AM and WebEx? It's just the judges, Kamimra. So when you submit your entry into the test flight, it's only the judges, and the reason for that is simple, frankly. One is because I don't like distractions. I want the judges. First of all, it's an honor to be chosen as a judge, and we have a lot of people who want to be judges who may not get to be judges. We got 2 people right now who want to be judges this coming up month for the same spot that we have, and I don't know which one of them to say yes to, which one to say no to. So, but one of them won't be because we just can't accommodate 5 judges, But by having it be just a handful of judges, it really puts the pressure on you as a judge. So it should be an honor to be a judge, to get to see all this fantastic talent, and it should be something that that you're really focused on. And so having too many judges in the mix, that leads to discussion, that leads to people saying, I really like so-and-so, and I really like so-and-so, days before the live reveal that we do, and I don't want to do that because I want everybody to basically be in a position to come at the material fresh. So we keep it at a very simple number. Let's see here. Let me just check the last couple of questions. I think Avaro asked who are the favorites for the contest, and Avaro, that's why you're my favorite. Favorite person that puts stuff on here. Yep. So we got a lot of great comments on the little mini speech that I gave, and so I really appreciate that. Again, that just shows me you guys are awesome. So thank you for taking time. This was a really long Q&A. I think we're going to call it time on it right now. I think there's probably some more questions that you guys have, but I'll answer those on the Pilot Manga group. Again, guys, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of the Pilot Manga group. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for watching these Q&As. It really means a lot. Q&As coming in the future, we promise. So please continue to support us. And like I said, we have all sorts of ideas on the Kickstarter. We really want that to happen. So I ask you to support us with that any way that you can. That's it, everybody. Thanks again. Next week's Q&A actually is going to be different originally, so I'll get back to you on what that is. I think it's going to be one of our. It might be something related to Saturday Plus. I'm not sure yet, but I'll certainly let you guys know as soon as we lock it down. Again, everybody, thanks. Have a great rest of your Saturday evening or early Sunday morning for some of you guys. And this is Frederick Jones, founder of My Footprint, creator of Saturday AM, Afternoon WebEx, Well Read, and Master Multiplayer World of Ghosts, saying thank you. See you next time, guys.